The first thing he noticed was the smell. Wet earth, burnt metal, and something sweet that did not belong there. Ethan Miller was lying flat in a Ukrainian trench, pressing his face into the mud and trying not to breathe too loudly. Above him, the sky cracked open with sound. Artillery was landing close now. Too close to count. He checked his watch by instinct. Then remembered time did not matter here. Ethan was an American from Ohio. Before the war, his hands smelled like motor oil and laundry soap. He worked in a distribution warehouse outside Columbus. Long shifts, early mornings, weekends spent fixing things around the house. He had a younger sister, a mother who worried too much, a father who barely talked about his own military service from decades earlier. Ethan liked routine. He liked knowing what came next. Wake up, work, eat, sleep. The war destroyed that idea. When the invasion began in early 2022, Ethan followed it the way many Americans did, through phone screens, through shaky videos, through faces that looked stunned and exhausted. At first, it felt distant. Another conflict, another place. Then he saw a video filmed inside an apartment stairwell. A man about his age was holding a child, trying to calm her while explosions echoed outside. The man kept saying the same sentence over and over. It will be okay. It will be okay. Ethan knew he was lying, not because the man was weak, but because no one could promise that. Weeks later, Ethan quit his job. He packed a single bag. He hugged his family longer than usual. He said he would explain when he came back. By April, he was in Ukraine. Now, months later, he was in a trench carved in a black soil near a small village whose name he could barely pronounce. The village was gone. Just walls. No roofs. No glass. The trench was narrow, barely wide enough to turn around. Wood planks lined the sides. Water pooled at the bottom. Your feet were always wet. Ethan shared the position with 5 others. 2 Ukrainians, 1 Canadian, 1 British volunteer, and another American named Lucas. Lucas was older, mid-30s, former Marine, calm voice, steady hands. Right now, Lucas was crouched 2 feet away, staring forward, jaw clenched. Waiting. The shelling paused. That pause was worse than the noise. Ethan felt his heartbeat in his throat. He wiped mud from his eyes with a shaking hand. His rifle felt heavier than it ever had in training. Then came the sound they feared most. Footsteps. Not many, but close. Someone whispered, "Contact." The word barely moved the air. Ethan pressed his back against a trench wall. He tried to slow his breathing. In through the nose, out through the mouth. The first figure appeared through the smoke. A silhouette moving fast. Then another. The world shrank to the space in front of him. Shots rang out. Short bursts. Controlled. The trench filled with echoes. Ethan fired. He did not remember pulling the trigger. He remembered the recoil, the smell of gunpowder, the way his ears rang. Someone screamed. Not far, not close, somewhere in between. A grenade landed near the edge of the trench. Lucas shouted. They ducked. The explosion slammed into Ethan's chest like a giant hand. Dirt rained down. His vision went white for a second. When it cleared, everything felt slow, muted. He realized he was shouting Lucas's name. Lucas did not answer. Ethan crawled forward. His knees sank into mud and something softer. He did not look down. Lucas was slumped against the wall. His helmet was cracked. Blood ran down his neck. Ethan grabbed him. Heavy. Unnatural. Ethan sat in the trench and stared at his hands. They were shaking hard now. He could not stop them. Mud covered his sleeves. Blood covered his gloves. He did not know whose. The Canadian leaned over and said something. Ethan nodded without hearing it. Hours later, when it was safe to move, they carried Lucas out of the trench, wrapped him in a tarp. Careful, gentle. Ethan helped lift. The weight felt wrong. Too light. They placed Lucas behind a broken wall. Someone closed his eyes. No one spoke. That night, Ethan sat in the same trench. The stars were bright. Too bright. He kept replaying the moment. The pause. The footsteps. The grenade. He wondered if 1 second earlier would have changed anything. One step. One warning. Sleep had not come. In the morning, the trench smelled different. Like damp clothes and cold ash. They rotated out 2 days later. Another unit took their place. The war moved on. Ethan carried Lucas's name with him. He wrote it inside his helmet. Small letters. Hidden. There were more fights after that. More trenches. More nights like this. But that moment stayed sharp. Clearer than the rest. By winter, Ethan was exhausted. Not just in his body. In his mind. He jumped at loud sounds. He avoided eye contact. He felt older than his years. When he finally left Ukraine, it was snowing. The fields were white now. Peaceful. Deceptive. Back home, Ohio felt unreal. Cars moved normally. People complained about traffic. About weather. Ethan stood in a grocery store once and had to leave. The lights were too bright. The sounds too many. At night, he dreamed of the trench. Of the pause before the footsteps. He did not talk much about it. When he did, he kept it simple. He said war was not movies. It was waiting, then chaos, then silence. He said the hardest part was not fear. It was losing someone and having no time to mourn. Sometimes he still smells wet earth after rain. Sometimes his hands shake. But he remembers why he went. He remembers faces, not headlines. In his garage, on a shelf, sits a helmet. Inside, a name written small. Lucas. Ethan touches it sometimes. Then he steps outside, breathes, and keeps going.